Hi everyone, back again for the second portion. The second portion of what I'm going to show you today is calculating our total value of sales projections. This is similar to question 4. I have taken question 4 and swapped out names and different numbers. Let me read it to you. Sorry, I have to read it, but I just want to make sure that you get the information. Again, for those of you that are working off of devices where you can't see all that well, I have made sure to put all the information below this video. I have set out the problem for you as well as the solution so that if you can't see the board, you can still see on your canvas. So, sales projections. This is learning objective 2. It says the ABC Corps expects to sell the following number of units of copper cables at the prices indicated under 3 different scenarios in the economy. The probability of each outcome is indicated. What is the expected value and the total sales projection? So what we are calculating here is the total value and the expected value. So we're looking for a whole sales projection, which would be the addition of this expected value. And we're going to talk about it really quickly. So let's look at the information they gave us. But first, let's talk a little bit about sales projections. Sales projections are probably, in the forecasting world, probably one of the absolute most used projections. Why? Because again, back to the 2 components of accounting, financial accounting and managerial accounting. So managers would use this to set goals, right? To say, okay, we are pretty confident that we are going to project sales of 480 units at $40 a piece. Well, that is used to set the goal and say, okay, divided by how many days of work, divided by how many employees. That helps them make really important decisions in their company about how many employees to have on hand, how many hours should they be working, what sort of equipment they will need to fulfill that type of sales level for their company. There's a lot of important managerial decisions based off these sales projections. When we look into financial accounting again does the same sort of thing, except for this helps people outside of the company, like banking institutions, make important decisions. Can they pay us back? If they are projecting sales next year of $320,000, with that money, do they have enough to pay back their loans? Again, very important for your income statement for sales projections and things like that. So back to the basics of this. It looks pretty complicated. There's a lot of numbers on here. Let me go through really quickly and walk you through this example. And again, this example is number 4 in your basic problems. You're going to be given number 1 and number 4 for homework. So this is number 4 with different numbers and a different name for the company. So this is ABC Corps. The ABC is not part of the name. That's just 3 different scenarios here. A scenario, the probability. The second column here is probability. This is basically saying out of 100% likelihood, how clear are we? How much belief do we have in this, that this is the way that the sales are going to go? So if you look at them, they're split up 60, 10, and 30, which is 100%, right? So they're 60% confident that this is the sales projection. So this one is probably the most important one to run with because this is their most likely sales projection. And then if you look through them, this one, which is 0.30, is probably the second most likely. That leaves this one to be the least likely of the bunch. They're not working in tandem, they're working separately. They are 3 different scenarios, and all we're doing is kind of calculating them up. So the third column and the fourth column, we're just literally going to do a multiplication here, which is why I put the little X's in there. We're saying the number of units is number 3, or column 3. That says in this scenario, we decided 320 units at $20 a pop is our projection. The second scenario, or B, is 375 at 30. C is 480 at 40. So that's all we're doing here is multiplying across to get our total value. So if we do the multiplications, 320 times 20 is 6,400. We take the second one, 375 times 30 should be 11,250 per my calculator. The third one is 480 multiplied by 40 should be, I cut it off, 19,200. Okay. The hardest component of this is probably column 6, but again, not too bad. All this is telling us is to take column 2, which is your profit or your projections, the probability of that particular scenario happening, and multiply it by the total value. So in this one, you're literally taking 60%, multiplying it by $6,400, which comes to $3,840. In scenario B, you're taking 10% of 11,250, which is 1125. Then the third one, you're taking 30%, multiplying it by 19,200, which should be 5,000, just looking below at my computer, 760. So when we're talking about the entire projection, the sales projection, we have to add column 6. So if you add 3840, 1125, and 5760, you should get 10,725. And that is your answer. So again, they're all independent columns here. All we're doing is calculating the total value by multiplying the units by the price to get the total value. Do that all the way down for all the scenarios. If I gave you 6 or 7 different scenarios, you do the same thing. Just multiply them across to get the total value. Then finally, to get our sales projection number for our expected value, we're multiplying the probability number by the total value. And we should get this, which is basically just saying 60% of that number is this. And then we're adding those. So this is an add equals 10,725. And that is how you do your sales projections for multiple projections. So if there's any question on this, take a look at the information down below in Canvas. I have provided it for those that can't see the board really well. And watch the video. You should be watching it right now with me. That's why you're here. And multiply across and add it down for your expected value column, and you will find the answer very easily. Let me know if you have any questions. Stay safe, guys.